Zlurpcast!
Oh, another chance to bring out the lightsaber. No batteries. I don't think I left them in. I will tell you this.
Your flashlight, right? You swapped them out.
That's right. Side note, I am a battery, what's the word? When they're not in use, I battery things. Is that a term?
It's just good stewardship of your electronics.
Can I tell you why? Because I had, I forgot what it was, probably a video game thing, leakage all over and ruined it. And I had to clean it up. Yeah, I'm like, I just don't want to, don't want to mess with that again. So now it is.
Don't do that with your smoke alarms. Leave the battery in your smoke.
Well, those are working, I think. I mean, I could test it on the show if you want. But we are going to talk Star Wars Imperial Assault, a dungeon crawl in space. I don't know. There's no dungeons. Or is there? Is Star Wars even sci-fi? Some say it's not even sci-fi. We'll find out. I mean, it was a long time ago. Is sci-fi even future? Where the fuck did that come from? All these questions answered and more. We've got Mike wearing the Cactus Sack cosplay. We've got Xtreme in the Cody, not to do the work, but the American Nightmare. And we got Biran in his workout gear. I have my brand new Bart Skomson shirt as made famous in Portlandia. There's an episode where Spike, he's selling pirated Simpsons gear, and this is the shirt. And I'm like, I have to get that shirt. He's the original Rude Boy, just off enough to be a pirated Bart Skomson shirt. I had to get it. This episode will sound a little like we did a few weeks ago. If you want to watch that one, that's on Descent. There. That one talks about the rules of the Fantasy Flight dungeon called Descent. Very similar game. Some people say this was a reskin, and they might be right. They also might be wrong. Imperial Assault, obviously, is Star Wars. That is one of the biggest licenses in the world. Fantasy Flight, now Asmodee? No, Asmodee? Asmodee. Osweepe. My name's not Asswipe, it's Osweepe. I get it.
Mr. Dumas.
They got this one, and after they got X-Wing, or after they made X-Wing, they got Star Wars. Fantasy Flight's doing games about Game of Thrones. They're doing games, Lovecraft. They're doing games of Star Wars. They're doing these games with a theme, because you see this on the shelf, you say, I want that. I want to play that game. Much like our Marvel Crisis Protocol episode. Kids see it in the game store. Now, they don't know what the models are like, but they see it at the game store, and they say, I want that. That's what happens if you saw this box, Imperial Assault, at the game store. If you loved the original Star Wars trilogy, you automatically think this game is cool. If you like Star Wars lore in general, especially like Rogue One stuff, you think this game is cool because it is not a battle. You got Legion for battle, great game, but this is, I'm going to play out missions in a story. These are things you have to do. That's how all the movies are. There's not a lot of battles in the movie outside of the Clone Wars cartoon. So if you watch, the Star Wars, any of the 10, 12, whatever, there are 13 movies,
There's only 3 movies.
Sure. They're all, I'm going to do a thing. Here's my cast of characters. Let's see if the bad guy stopped me from doing my thing. That sums it up. Save yourself 50 hours. I summed it up. That's what this game is. The base game takes place between Empire and Return of the Jedi. If I'm wrong, tell me, because I didn't think about it, but I remember that. I played a campaign of this game about 6 years ago, maybe. And my friend Paul, he writes, was the Empire. He was the Overlord-esque character. I had all the stuff, all the models, painted up nicely by one Anthony Sarlo. Notice had. notice. We'll talk about that. Such a great game. Why don't you have it? I don't know. Find out. All the expansions, which is more bad guys, more good guys, more scenarios to play out. But I didn't want to run it. I wanted to play it. So I asked Paul. He's like, fuck yeah. He loves the Empire. He would work there if he could. They're not hiring right now. No one's hiring. He said he would run it. And
I'm waiting with bated breath.
I will always wonder if that's just me or.
No, it's just JP.
When it jumped to Xtreme, I was like, "Uh-oh, that's bad."
Am I here?
Oh, top row! You made it to
Hey!
top row.
I didn't even leave and come back. Oh shit! Internet's unstable.
Yeah.
I have free internet. I'm an influencer of Comcast.
You're
What
on the
did
top row for some reason now.
I didn't even exit. I'll take it.
Yeah.
What did you hear last?
You were like this.
Empire's nobody's hiring the Empire.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Appreciate the real answer instead of making fun of me. You ended with. Okay, that's fine. I'll start with. You play the Empire. They're the bad guys.
Oh.
Did you lose me again?
No, you're still here.
Oh, Xtreme said, oh.
You moved to the bottom and your hand went away.
I took his hand away.
Am I on the bottom now?
Now you're on the top.
How am I?
Remember, mine's the only one that matters.
Yeah, extreme lives matter over here, everybody.
Not as much.
All right, so here's the deal. You have this scenario. You have your characters, which we'll talk about in a second, but you are playing against the Empire, much like in the movies and the comics and the books. That's not one person, that is a whole army. So it is up to the Empire player to determine whether you're going to be real and play this game real, legit, I want to win, or I want to make sure these people have a good time. Paul is competitive. He played for real. And I'm fine with that. We lost half of them, I think. We won half, we lost half. That's okay.
That gets you in the Hall of Fame of the MLB.
There you go. Yeah. By the way, you ever work with somebody who goes, they're doing really well. It's like everything's coming up Millhouse, so to speak, in their day. They go, I'm really batting 100 today. And I'm always like, batting 100? That sucks.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Like, of all expressions to get wrong, I'm batting 100. Anyway, he played to win. There's a thing in the game called threat level or threat points, and it is what you use to buy reinforcements for the Empire. Now, what you should do is probably buy like a couple of probe droids, a couple of stormtroopers, maybe the E-Web gunner. You know, what you could do. Nope, no reinforcements. Like add some more threat. Nope, none this round. And then like round 4, here comes this ATST. Like, how the fuck did that get in the ship? How did that get inside the ship? Well, I paid the threat points for it.
It got flak packed like an IKEA thing, and they spent the time building it.
It shrunk down. It collapsed. No instructions. He paid the threat points, and he did. And he brought it in, and we couldn't kill it, and we lost. Is that a hack? Is that a playing it wrong? I don't know. I mean, what are you supposed to do, right? I wanted him to run the game so I could play, and that's how he chose to do it. He wasn't trying to be a prick, but he's like, my job is to win, and he's right. But me as the overlord in Dungeon Saga, that episode, my job was to make people have fun, and that was also right. So before we get into the mechanics of the game, let me ask you guys, if you were playing in an Imperial Assault campaign, do you prefer the Empire player to just string you along and make sure you have fun and maybe win one, or beat you fucking down where he can?
I prefer him to make me have fun. Don't make it super easy, but don't be a dick.
Yeah.
I agree with Brian, and that's the fact that it's even a question is one of the reasons that I don't like having a human play. the bad guy that you're going against.
Because then that human could break the game, like clearly having ATST in that situation does.
Yeah, Mike.
I agree. Yeah.
So I'm gonna
But
go.
I know Paul, and I know that he would do that, and I'd still have fun with it.
Right. I'm gonna go on a limb here and say I'm good either way. It depends on the person, because I had no problem whatsoever of him going hardcore. Once I knew. The first game, I didn't know what he was doing. But then once I got him, like, all right, we need to stop bickering and be good. Get good, bro. I know you want to fucking slap. Like, so Josh plays again. He played against my better judgment. He played this rogue Jedi that somehow, he was under a rock. I don't know. They found him. So I didn't really want Jedi in the game. Side note, I wanted to play it like more Rogue One-esque, even though it was before the movie came out, just because that's the main characters in the game in the box are Jyn Erso. No, I think it's almost the same name as Felicity Huffman's character in Rogue One, Jyn Erso. Like almost exactly, like that's the character, even though the movie didn't even come out yet. And then there's like the old Rebel commander. Then there's the Wookiee fighter, and then there's a Bothan like sniper kind of guy. He did not die to bring us this information. And then there's like a regular like just base rebel trooper. But I let everyone pick because I had everything. I had all the expansions. So Paul, pick from any of the bad guys. We're gonna play the scenario. Don't let me take it back. Don't pick like characters. Don't bring Thrawn in. He's not here yet. But like if you really wanted maybe a sand trooper or something, whatever. I let him do that. Mainly, I wanted people to pick the characters they wanted to pick, and I'll run through those in a second with what was in there. But I wanted to play the Mon Calamari, like long-range sniper guy, because I wanted to, for once in a game, sit back and shoot when everyone else gets their ass kicked, because I never get to be that person, and I don't really like archers, so that was my version of it. That's what I wanted to play. So everyone got to pick whatever they want. Josh played this Jedi. He said, I'm just going to hack through a bunch of guys. I'm like, well, no, because we need, if you're going to be like the tough guy, then we need you to like lead this thing, go up front. And these scenarios are not descent scenarios. These are very much like, we all have to hit this control panel at the same time. Like way more coordination, in my opinion, in Imperial Assault than there is in Descent. Less fuckery to be had. The role playing is down to a minimum. What would my guy do? I know you want to be the cool, like Han Solo guy to not care, but you have to care about this right now. So it is, the role playing thing goes to a minimum, and the gamesmanship gets turned up in Imperial Assault. That's the biggest difference, besides Star Wars and guns. That's the biggest difference in Imperial Assault to Descent, in my opinion, is the tactics side is changed. You really do have to work together. Team is a harder game, and if you role play, you probably will lose, especially against a competitive Empire player. And I don't fault Paul at all for what he did, because you know what? Next time I knew if he was saving up threat points, let's fucking get a move on. Let's get to that last board tile before he has a chance to bring out anything cool. Because why sit around, and wait for stuff? You just have to learn to get good in the game. It's not quite like a pandemic thing where you're telling everyone what to do, but there is a level of, come on, guys. Right. We know better. We know better. You might have pulled that shit in Descent where your berserker guy runs up and just kills, but we know better in this game. We know better. We know that you can't do that all the time. So that's the biggest thing. Imperial Assault's a harder game for the heroes to win. What, Xtreme?
We're better than this.
We're better than this.
We're not.
And we
But
know.
also with someone like Paul, you could call him a MFer and he wouldn't get mad.
Yeah, I think we ended a night on an argument about rules once, but
he doesn't get, he loves the argument. He's that guy.
He's the reason. So when I was making Death Path, I said, Paul, would you want to help me with the rules? He's like, sure. I'm like, one, I'll pay you because I paid everyone who worked on it. But break the rules, then remake the rules and write them in a way that everyone can understand. And so they're still not at the level where I want, but they're way better than I could have done. He did a great job with that. So the way he writes and the way he thinks and the way he acts is different than most people. He's very analytical. So there's no question that playing Imperial Assault with him was difficulty setting on high.
You set the difficulty on Paul.
Well, my Mon Calamari character was very dark-skinned as well. So if we're playing South Park Fractured Butthole, that's the hardest difficulty setting in the game to play life through. But it is a game where you have to really think about stuff. So I'm going to run through the stuff you get in the main box, because this is, I think, $100 base game. Does that sound about right, you guys?
I own it somewhere. I think it was 85 though, because I remember using my.
Well, you bought it as a discount because you didn't support your store.
No, I bought it. It was pre Grognards. I bought it with auction money I got at Games Plus.
Pre Grognard.
Yeah, PG as we say.
Pre-Nard, before your Nards dropped.
Yep.
So core set comes with Diala Pasil, which is Twi'lek Jedi. She's another one. They threw a few in there that were like, again, I was off the bat, I was like, let's try to play without.
That doesn't fit with the lore.
It really doesn't, but I get why, because it's going to draw people to it. She is really good. She's one of the best characters in the base game. Then you get boring, but if you just like base, bunch of ads in this area. Fen Cygnus, like basic rebel trooper. He's like the Xtreme character. If Xtreme were to pick a guy to play, like, give me just the regular guy with a gun that's got a family to go home to.
Paint him with a red shirt, maybe.
Yeah, give me that guy. He's a hardened veteran. He's not a new recruit, but he's
a weapon skill 4.
Regular guy. Garkan, your Wookiee, obviously. There he is, sort of. Or Garkan, depending on where you're from. The leader, Gideon Argus. Fun fact, a lot of people don't paint him black, even though he is. A lot of people think he's really tan.
Yeah.
But he is black with a white beard. He's like Black Santa.
Well, in the Star Wars universe, the oppressed minorities are the aliens, not the races of human. It's the aliens that are the oppressed by the Empire.
I guess he could be Middle Eastern, though. Gideon Argus, maybe.
Maybe a little Greek or Turkish.
Yeah, a little Turk. Something Ottoman related, if you will. Jin Odin. Okay, so now Jin Urso is in Rogue One. Jin Odin, essentially the same character in this game. She's kind of like can do a little bit of everything. Like,
daughter of Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah. She does have a Mads face in the art here. He's got the bad guy face as well. And then Bothan long range shooter guy. I like that they scaled him a little shorter. He is. That's just lore. I like that. They could have made him human size, made a little smaller.
Do you feel that it was wrong that Mon Mothma said that Bothans gave it to him and not Jyn Erso? Or was that the Return of the Jedi one that she said?
Well,
it was Return of the Jedi.
Oh, yeah, she wasn't in the original movie.
Right. Yep.
Bothans died to bring the second Death Star plans. Right. Who died? We don't know. We didn't talk about it.
They didn't deserve names.
The correct answer is everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Mon. Moan. I don't know how to say it. Mon. She's Jamaican, I believe. The game comes with, on the bad guy side. Let me take it back. And I'm probably going to get this wrong, so feel free to blast us in the comments. I believe the box set came with a Luke Skywalker, like Bespin kind of Luke, but it was in a blister, like it was off the shelf. But I think they threw it in. I could be wrong. I remember getting him and Vader like automatically, but I don't think they were in the box. But anyway, the box mainly comes with a bunch of stormtroopers, the E-Web guy, the probe droids, the Imperial officers. You get the really cool bad guys with all the expansions. I think it's Battle for Hoth. I think that's set at like the best stuff in it, if I remember correctly. But this is the kind of game, though, that if you are a Star Wars fan and really like this game, you will want to make it a point to be a completist and own everything, because it's already gone. Like, as of right now, the game is done. There is no more new stuff. So go on this quest, before you do these quests to seek out all items, all expansions, all the rule books, all the cards, and all the models. So you have everything. I think there's 5 expansions total, like 2 big ones, 2 or 3 big box ones that are like $50, and then 2 or 3 like little ones, like that were just a little mini adventure, like Twin Shadows, added Boba Fett in there and some other stuff. I believe the eras changed as well. I only played the base game campaign, but I believe if you get all the expansions and play through them, look up the order, because the order is not, I don't believe order of release. The order is whatever the order is, and look it up. But it goes throughout, because you do eventually get to Grand Admiral Thrawn, and you get to like Imperial Inquisitor and these things that you don't remember from the movies because they're taken from the novels, comics, and mostly Expanded Universe, Legends. I don't really know where they drew the line, but it's a lot of EU stuff as the game went on. They ran out of movies to do, and they're not going to go to the prequel era. They're not going to go to the sequel era. I don't remember if they did Rogue One stuff in the game.
Looks like they did Rebels.
The show?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah, because they have like the Twi'lek girl, like mechanic girls in there, right?
Yeah, and Sabine Wren and the big guy.
Because the Rebel show's older, right? That's a good 5 years old, maybe, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
They did have that. But they didn't, I don't think they did. Like, I don't think there's Krennic and those guys from Rogue One in this game at all.
No.
They went from original trilogy, fitting between like 1 and 2, 2 and 3, or sorry, 4 and 5, 5 and 6, whatever. And then a little post-6 stuff. I thought it would be really cool to figure out the order and play through everything. You probably would, to answer your question, Mike, from the first time we talked about it, about the characters and all that, Descent, you probably would want to start fresh ones because it seemed to start fresh out of the box. But ultimately, it plays 95% the same as Descent. Movements, your actions, hero's turn, empire turn, refreshing things, spending actions on things, spending surges. The dice colors assigned to your character and your weapons and your skills is what you roll. So you can spend the little lightning bolts on there to cash them in for other things. If you play Star Wars Legion, the battle game, you would also like Star Wars Imperial Assault. You might not like that the scale's different. Sorry, I didn't make them. But you might not like that. But it's the same kind of feel. So Imperial Assault and Legion, you are cashing in surges to do stuff, and you have combat dice. They're D6s as opposed to D8s in Legion, but no. Are they D8s in? Yeah. The D8s in Legion?
Both.
Yeah.
Both. I was thinking Marvel. Yeah. But ultimately, though, if you like one, you also would like the other. It's just the dungeon crawl version of that. If you aren't into Star Wars, why are you watching this? You know what I mean? If Fantasy Flight, if they made a generic sci-fi dungeon crawl, I don't think anybody would care.
If they made a Tarsag, you mean?
Yeah, I don't think anybody would care. There's something about like fantasy as a thing on its own can survive on its own, in my opinion. But sci-fi cannot. Sci-fi needs a world, I think. So either build a world like 40K, or you get a license and you turn it into. So that's what they did. They said, well, we have our fantasy dungeon called Descent, and people seem to like it. Would they like Descent with guns? Maybe. I bet they'd like it more if it was characters they already heard of and they can fight against Darth Vader. That's what the game is. So it is a blast to play. If you like Star Wars, you would like the game. But if you're indifferent to the lore, then it wouldn't be for you.
It looks like it can be, obviously it's out of print now, but eBay prices are pretty much retail for a lot of this stuff. Some of the expansions seem to be a little more expensive, just probably because there aren't as many like of the obscure ones out there.
I bet I'd like to think the older expansions, the older character, like, so by the way, you get, I think they come with tokens in the box for characters to use. And you're gonna be like, well, where all the good guys get models and the bad guys don't. So you end up buying blister packs off the wall to put, in the game. I have a feeling the older ones should be more rare, but I think the later ones are actually kind of harder to come by because I think stores weren't carrying the game as much.
Yeah.
Like Gaming Goat wasn't, like, I don't remember ever seeing the expansions for the models for the last expansion. I think it's called Heir to the Empire or Heir to the Throne or something. I don't remember seeing those models in stores. I remember seeing the other ones like forever. You could always buy like, the Boba Fett's of the world, but I remember seeing the later ones. So get them where you can, I guess, is the moral of the story if you want to play this game. Are you looking online, Biran?
Yeah, I'm looking at eBay. The prices seem like I said, the stuff I hadn't heard about, like ISB operative pack,
Yeah,
seems a little expensive. My guess is that's something it didn't have high print run, but the core game could be had for like less than it was when it was available.
yeah. I made the mistake of getting everything, at least at the time. More came out later, but at the time I wanted to get everything so I can have everything. You really need to just play out of the box. Like that's really the best way. I know it seems like you want to have cool shit right off the bat, but play the scenario with what's in the box. Determine if you like it and you still have people that want to play, then find the expansions if that's your route. If you're just a collector of Star Wars things and models, then just sure buy everything, but just know there's a good chance you never make it to the expansions.
Yeah, the expansions are over the map. My guess is based on rarity. And also desirability. Like I see Ahsoka Tano is like $90 because the popular character, and it was probably later in the run that they made it, so not as many.
Yeah, I think I paid 15 because it was on blister pack when it came out.
Yep.
But if the store didn't keep them in stock because people knew this game was dying during its last, I think, 2 expansion releases.
Yeah,
they came out with a phone app, by the way. So the phone app's got scenarios in there, I believe, to play solo. Never tried it, but so there's that. But it was on the downward kind of spiral after about like the 4th or 5th expansion pack. So, it is still a lot of fun. Get the base game and start from there. It's nice to see that you can still find it online for maybe $100. There is it's a heavy box. There's a lot of models in it. There's a lot of board sections in it. You can get 3D stuff for it if you want. If you want to get doors that look like Star Wars doors and like objectives that look like things and crates, you can buy all that on Etsy if you want. Kind of cool. Adds a little extra fluff to it. But other than that, the base game has a shit ton in it. I think there's like 15 or 16 different scenarios to play through in there. It'll connect. So if Empire wins, you play this one. It's a lot of fun. Same thing as Descent. You have your character, you have your card, you have your actions and all that. Then you gain experience, you get new skills. Okay, now I already got the cool sniper rifle. Well, now I got the laser scope to go with it, and now I got the dead eye shot skill to go with that. So you're still building up how you want. Just like Descent, I like that you don't automatically get everything. You have to be picky with what you want to upgrade because you only get a finite amount of experience points. So it's like, well, I really want whatever this skill is, but this one would really help the party more. Same with the items. I really want to get this this gun. Well, my guy doesn't carry guns, so I can't use it. Offer it up to the rest of the party. There's a lot of that going on, but it is 100% about getting those missions and playing smart and 0 wasted turns in this game. Any questions from you guys about Imperial Assault?
so it looks like all the components are very similar to Descent, and that's a good thing. The interlocking boards.
The models are better than Descent. I know they're
And newer, of course.
completely different, but they're newer. But here's the thing. If you look at Imperial Assault models after playing Star Wars Legion, you're going to think those are garbage too.
Yeah.
Or those as in Imperial Assault, because then Legion has gotten so much better. And even within Legion, they've gotten better.
Yeah.
Like Leia's face in the first Legion game looks like a Planet of the Apes face. Whereas if you buy the Darth Maul expansion that just came out, it looks fucking phenomenal. So
Oh, I got Princess Leia that had a stroke.
right, exactly. You don't want the stroke Leia. Get the other one at Etsy. There's actually a Rebel. There's an Endor version of her on Etsy you can buy that looks even cooler. So you're going to see that. You're going to see the model evolution in these games, though. At the time, Imperial Assault was pretty sweet models, though.
I do like how tiny the ATST is,
It is board game level.
and it's like that little.
Well,
It's like the height of 2 models. It looks like.
so ATST, then ATRT, correct? And then ATAT?
Well, ATRT was the Rebel one.
Well, size-wise, though, because I thought it is too small, but I don't think it's as small as, well, I don't know. Because you know what, the sizes are all over the place. Because then they came out with like a snow speeder, I believe, and
that the models would not fit in.
No, that's too small.
Like 10 Space Marines and a Rhino.
Right. If there's a guy driving it, though, it needs to be to scale. If there's no one driving it, then you can get away with it. Because you're like, well, they lay him in like sardines in the back. So, but if someone's driving, then it's like, oh, motherfucker, you just told me there's a chair. You've proven there's a chair in the model. So now
they're standing up and driving.
Right, now everyone has to have chairs in the back. That's all I'm saying.
Anyway. I was just assuming the drivers, it's 9 Space Marines and the driver, and he also gets out when they get out. And they just leave it parked.
He has to leave? He has to stay? He has to stay to see if it explodes.
Yeah.
For the records. Like, you know, Space Marines don't have the black box technology yet, but they do have driver like his own like kind of memory. Like, and
he's got a trucker's log.
Right. We're exploding in 3, 2, and they know for the records that happened. Anyway, when you're playing Imperial Assault, and a lot of the bigger things you can buy, like the walkers and like things you ride and ships, I believe a lot of them are almost like put a character in it or put a guy in it, kind of like Rivet Wars, like plug in a little bit. Some of that I think goes on. I never got to most of those things in the games we played, unfortunately, which is always the case, right? You always end up having everything.
You can buy 10 expansions and don't get to 9 of them.
Right. The only thing that was really funny is I wanted to use the Mon Calamari sniper dude. It was in one of the later expansions. I remember opening up that pack, popping him out, and he came with like these little tokens that only he got. They were like marker lights kind of things almost, you know? And I popped those out, but I left it. Somehow I got it where like that was a little sliver I pulled out, and the rest was all shrunk wrap still. So it kind of looked like a brand new expansion. I just popped out the counters. I didn't need the board tiles. We weren't using them yet anyway. And when I sold my stuff, which we'll talk about now, I was like, here you go. All the expansions unused, untouched, except for that little corner. It was nib, except for that one corner to get my little tokens.
One corner was gently used.
One corner was nibbed 4 times. It was four tokens. So I had Anthony Sarlo, friend of the show, paint up my models. Did a good job.
Doctor Who actor.
Great actor. He played the negative third Doctor, I believe.
Also the Game of Thrones porn parody.
He played not Dario Naharis. He played Ser Jorah in the Game of Thrones porn parody Winter is Coming. He also played one of the doctors I don't know about in Masters of Luxor on YouTube. Look that one up. If you have trouble sleeping, put that one on repeat. He also did a really good job painting these models for me. I paid him in cash and prizes. And
how did Lando turn
out? Darker than I would have painted him. But I mean, whatever. Accurate, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what answer is the right answer here. He said, if you ever get rid of everything, let me have first crack to buy them. Okay, no problem. I don't plan to, but okay. I never played here since moving, and even in Chicago, we played 2015, I think. Never really, because we started to play more battle games, and even here with Heather and the guys I play with here, it's all battle games, it's all skirmish games. It's sitting in a box. And I'm like, I don't necessarily need to turn quick cash, but I can take that in PayPal and then buy this with the same money And that's what happened. So I ended up getting, a bunch of 40K shit, a bunch of painted Eldar with it. I sold it all expansions, minus 2 cards. I learned the hard way. I did inventory. And people didn't like that. There were 2 cards missing. One I knew about when Heather's mom's dog ate 1 card. But it was like phase knife. So I didn't even give a fuck because it was like, who wants phase knife? You know what I mean? It wasn't like, Vader's lightsaber. It was phase knife, 10 points. Who the fuck cares? So I knew that one. The other one I only learned from going through the inventory. It was pretty good. It was like ceramite armor, but there was already more than one in the thing. So I stated it up front, put it up for $600, I believe. Had a guy do a buy it now and won it or didn't pay yet. Proceeded to ask me 3 questions. I'm like, this guy's not going to pay. He won, but hasn't paid, and he's asking.
Trying to back out with 3 questions.
And he did pay, and then asked 6 more questions. What I wanted to reply with was, all your questions will be answered when it arrives on your doorstep. Is what I wanted to answer with.
I don't want to ruin any surprises.
Are there boxes included? Nope. I wrote in the ad, no boxes included. What cards are missing again? I wrote in the this was like I wrote a novel in this ad, but whatever. He bought it. I was happy about it. So $600. I offered it to Sarlo. He said no. I'm going to pass. I offered it to Todd as well for store credit. He passed. I'm like, okay. I mean, we didn't talk numbers. Maybe he thought I wanted like 1,000. I don't even know. He said no. I can't do anything with that. I think is what he said, which is fair. It's not Warhammer. But I just realized that as cool of a game as it is, it's gonna sit in a box forever. Because I also bought Legion with it too. So then I was already scratching Star Wars itch painted as well with Legion. And I was actually having more fun with Legion than this game. So Biran, you have the game, you said?
I do.
Ever busted open?
I've never. It's nib.
Wow.
I busted it open to look at it and go, ooh, this is cool. And I can't put it away.
Yeah.
It was free because I believe I sold some Battlefleet Gothic ships to get it.
You traded one dead game for another. Not bad. What would you rather play more right now?
Imperial Assault.
Okay, just checking.
I like Battlefleet Gothic at the time a lot. The flying bases turned me off mightily now.
Battlefleet Gothic, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So picture big metal model, tiny plastic base.
Yeah.
I heard Battletech Gothic, so I was thinking instead of the plastic base, you put Battletech robots underneath to hold them up.
That would have worked much better.
Like they're flying through space, holding it.
Also, guessing range.
Oh, that was a guess range game?
It had it. Yeah.
Tell you what, side note.
Did a lot of this.
I'm very good at guessing range. I don't prefer it, but if put on the spot, yeah, that's 48.
Well, it only mattered for this one gun the Imperials have, or the Imp Guard have.
Oh, yeah, well, at 40K.
Yeah.
The mortars needed it.
This was a gun that was on the front of the battleships. The
in that game. Okay.
That's the one where being precise mattered. Like you would know by eyeball, yeah, I'm in range. But this one, if you guessed exactly, it really mattered.
Okay. Back to Imperial Assault, you guys. When you get the models in the box, not as much warping of the bases as Descent had. You can actually play out of the box without a lot of wobbliness. What you might get, though, is some gun and lightsaber issues. Just same, I mean, Legion has it too. My Count Dooku lightsaber is curved like his hilt and his cock is at the same time. Whatever. Christopher Lee had a curved dick and a curved hilt and now a curved saber. That's fine. Imperial Assault has that too. So I believe, I'm trying to think, besides the lightsabers, you had.
But again, it was the softer plastic, so you could bend it back. It's not. What was the worst game of that Harry Potter game with resin and the wand?
Oh yeah, well.
So they would break.
Resin is at your own risks, though.
Yeah.
You got to sign a waiver to work with resin, especially in that game. This one is bendy. You can fix it; it'll be fine. It's really pretty good models out of the box, though. You wouldn't be disappointed with them at all. They're obviously no assembly, play right away. They paint up pretty good. There's not like ridiculous detail where you're going to feel like you have to be a master painter. I'd like to think that contrast paint, white, would be good for the Stormtroopers on this, much like they are for Legion. Right, Biran? Is that what you use?
Yeah, but then you still have to dry brush over it because it's kind of grayish.
Oh, yeah. It almost looks kind of like gray. But they paint up pretty easy. They're not,
Yeah,
not
Stormtroopers can paint up super fast.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of any other. The characters you play are probably the most detail. Oh, here's what I wanted to mention. I'm glad I thought about this. This is a pretty big deal in the game. So when you're playing, if you were to play Descent, like all your characters are who they are. Like we might be famous. We don't know. You don't know if, Ulfric the Wanderer is a well-known wizard, whatever. Star Wars is a little different. You are playing essentially 4 unknowns, okay? Gideon Argus may be a rebel commander. No one's writing books about him, though. There's might be some sexual fan fiction, but nothing major. You've heard of Chewbacca? Yeah, we all have. No one's heard of Grashnak, though. That's my point. In the game, you have allies. Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Princess Leia. They will all join you on your quest. You can buy them with points, like I forget what they're called, reinforcement points, I believe, and they will help you. And they are better than you because they're supposed to be better than you. So nominate somebody in your group. Hey, I'm gonna run my guy, and also I'm gonna do Luke, whatever. So whatever it is, they are the side hustle to the game. So while they might play an integral role in achieving an objective, they don't break the game and they aren't your focus. So there was a mission we played, and Luke pops up in whatever ship we were on and this was not because they have Return of the Jedi Luke as a Jedi, and then they have Bespin Luke he's not that great, but he's got a blaster and he can use the Force, so the shots are better, blah, blah, blah. He pops up, he nails like 3 stormtroopers, clears a path for us to walk past. That was his role in the one scenario. He never showed up again, but we were the other guys. Like the movie, we were the other guys. We showed up and did our shit while the main guys did the main guy things. That was a really cool concept of the game. That I add that to it's Star Wars, it's a little more tactical, and it's guns, but it's also, you are the role players, so to speak. You are the other guys, sidekicks. You sometimes see the main characters. And could you take out Vader yourself? You could. You probably won't, because the mission will probably say he runs off after X amount of things happen, whatever. But you could. Like, you could take somebody out, but you are playing the people like in Rogue One that are trying to steal plans and get intel and do all these things. You are not playing as these legends, which I thought was a really cool concept of the game. You can't play as them either. There's no, there's nothing. You're playing your characters and they pop up. You choose what you spend on. So like, hey, Rebels won this mission. You get to decide the next mission. Is it going to be this one or this one? If you do this one, you go to Kashyyyk and it's the Wookiee's home world, which means your Wookiee player might get some cool shit at the end. Or you go this route where you might encounter Han Solo and the Millennium Falcon. Oh shit. So when you win, you get rewarded by fun scenarios and like reinforcement points to spend. When the Empire wins, they get rewarded with more threat points to spend on their shit. So it's very, very cinematic, very story driven. Every game feels like a comic book, little like one shot kind of thing. So it's a lot of fun. The last thing I want to say is there is a mode in the game called Skirmish Mode, Imperial Assault Skirmish Mode. I don't think it's good at all. I think now, at the time, that was the only option. Now, you could play Legion Skirmish Mode, and it's a lot of fun because it's just Legion with less stuff. This was, you're playing on maps that have squares, and I just don't think it played well. Biran builds a force, Mike builds a force, you guys fight. Why are we fighting? Who cares? I want this guy, you want that guy. I don't know. I kind of would rather play the game as it was intended, and that is playing out some cool like movie plots. That's kind of what it is. But there is a skirmish mode. Some people online seem to like it a lot. I read the rules. It didn't really interest me. I'd rather, if I have people playing the game and you're committing to playing, I'd rather play more scenarios than you and I build a team and shoot and move in squares, you know?
It's what you're doing. It's not the nuts and bolts of shooting and moving. It's what adventure you're having.
Yeah, totally. And skirmish didn't seem like it had any kind of meat on it for me, like to get into it. It just seemed like, yeah, it's a fun way to play it at a con, I guess. 16 people sign up, everybody builds a faction, 100 points, and you can play a competitive game with your Imperial Assault models. That wasn't for me.
How long does it take to play a game, and how many games are in a campaign?
The base game, I think, is 12 or 16. I think it's 16. And if you know what you're doing, the game could take an hour. If you're fumbling around, it's probably more like 2 hours. And by I say fumbling, I mean board section set up. Well, there'd be, board section set up. What you need to play, your stacks of cards. Both this game and Descent, you have conditions. I'm weakened, I'm vulnerable, I'm poisoned, I'm stunned. You have cards that describe you got to set all that stuff up before the game. You got to have, like, when someone comes, sit down, let's play. That means stacks of all the conditions, stacks of all the like prizes you get at the end, stacks of all the skills, stacks of all the items, the board set up ideally. If you have all that, it's an hour. If you don't, that's an extra hour-ish of setup time and discussing, and then people not knowing what they're doing and like taking a long turn. There's no time limit, but there's there is, take it back. There's no actual time limit, but I believe the Empire player, that threat thing I was talking about, is actually a dial, and I believe the dial moves as the turn moves. So if you dilly-dally or just dally or dilly, you will give that Empire player a lot of turns to buy a lot of stuff. So that fits the mode of you better hurry up and get to it. Now, it's not an actual time thing. If you think like, wait, now if I go here and do this and you kill these guys, leaves me a path, that's fine. But when your actual turn happens, there is consequences if you take forever. So Xtreme, to answer your question, you can do them in an hour, but you got to just be efficient as fuck to make that hour happen. Otherwise, it's a 2-hour night. Oh, and then there's, like I said, 16. I believe the other scenarios, the big box ones are more and the little box ones are less. Makes sense. I just don't know exactly how many are in each of those, but they do. I give them credit. They give their own like arc. Like, there is one that is called the Bespin Gambit, and it is all things that happen on Bespin that never happened on wherever you were in the first one. Like, they really do try to make each of the campaign packs, if you play through those missions, like a graphic novel or something of that one setting to make it fit in the timeline. Anyone else? Imperial Assaults? Would you play? Mike, would you play if I brought it?
Yeah.
But you would rather play.
I would always rather play the fantasy than the sci-fi.
Okay.
I'd probably rather play Descent than this, but I would play this.
Yeah. I will tell you, this game is phenomenal if you have real quote unquote Star Wars fans. By that I mean, like, the Star Wars cynicism is to a minimum in your game nights, and you just have fun and immerse yourself in the game.
The Disney movies never happened.
According to the game, they didn't happen.
That's a point right there.
There you go. And according to the game, the prequels didn't happen either. So
Again, another point.
I'm just saying. But if you can just get into it and have fun and feel a little dorky for a night, because it is a dorkier game than Descent, because it has a built-in theme that you got to play along to. If you can get into all that kind of stuff, people aren't like, oh, this is dumb. You're gonna have a lot of fun. But this game, way more than Descent, you have to cultivate the right group to play with. Way more than Descent. Anybody could pop in Descent and play, because, especially with like how mainstream like D&D and stuff is. Like, and Descent is like a video game. Just pop in, you can play. This game, you got to actually like Star Wars and be into it, and like you got to think it's cool that we can. If we win this mission, guys, we can bring in, we can bring in Chewbacca for this next one to greet us in the Wookiee planet. You got to think that's cool to want to show up next week to play. Descent doesn't have any of that kind of stuff. It's very much like at face value kind of game. So that's the biggest takeaway with it is know your audience. Legion is an easier thing to just get up and play against somebody. A little more of a time investment in this one because it's got to last at least enough for the whatever you're playing. 10 or 12 games, whatever it is. Anything else? Imperial Assault?
Short review. Yeah.
Shortened imp ass if you want to save time while typing. I've seen that.
Not impasse.
Not an impasse.
Pure ass.
It can be an impasse. As we learned from those games, I believe if you're at a corner and someone's diagonal, you think you can go, but that would be an impasse. But then some dungeon crawls let you do that. Some do not. And I always get confused which ones do and which ones don't because no one has agreed. Can you actually go diagonal with a wall and a guy there? I don't know.
Or how about the ones that let you go even in a wide open space? The first diagonal is 1. The second diagonal is 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is that. I think this has that.
That's in D&D as well.
Now I'm confused.
But you sold your copy, so you'll never know.
Well, I'll never know. It's not like I can just Google PDF Imperial Assault book and it comes up because it's free. It's on the website, by the way. You can't get the game, but you can download a PDF to think about the game. Mm-hmm. And as we all know, isn't that the best part of playing games? Is not actually playing.
Yes. Yes.
Just I don't know.
Trunk talk after the game. Best
yeah. Just letting the rules percolate a bit and just kind of thinking, you know what? I'd love to try this sometime. If only, yeah, man. And then
Thank God it's out of print, so I don't have to.
Right, then you move on with your life. Will they reissue this one? I haven't heard anything.
I mean, they have the Star Wars license for other stuff, but I bet you it's an individually negotiated deal like everything.
I can see them doing it because they still have Legion, and that is not slowing down. I could also just see them using Legion models and coming up with like a book or something. Or
I don't want the tiles though.
You need tiles, I guess.
You need the tiles and the dice and the cards.
I wonder how they would do that. I wonder. Yeah, I guess maybe it would be its own game. Then the question is, now that they've established that we're going to put equal amounts of resources behind Clone Wars era and original era, would you pick? I don't know. I guess it's interesting to see. I don't know. I'd like to see them do something because there is a place for it. But I guess they're selling a whole lot more models with Legion, so I don't know. Anyway, all food for thought. Bantha fodder for thought.
Bantha hoodoo in the proper vernacular.
What did I say? What did you say?
Bantha hoodoo. Hoodoo is poop.
Was that from Old Republic?
I think it was from the prequel trilogy.
Oh, wasn't there? Okay. I think if I were to play Imperial Assault again, I'd like a side game of Pazak or of what was the other one? Desjardins or I want a side game of the games. Those are always the best games. The games you play in Star Wars. I almost bought
Sabak is the game, right?
So yeah, Sabak. And then there was, but then I remember playing in Knights of the Old Republic. You actually got to play Pazak. That was back then, I guess.
Is that the 3D chess?
That's not Duardin. That's another one. There's 3 of them, I think.
Yeah.
I almost basically, long story short, I almost bought, it was like $60 on Etsy, like an actual like game of one of them. Like, there's no rules in there. It's just fucking cards with dots on them.
Mhm.
There's no fucking rules. It's a pouch, and inside are cards that look like dominoes. Like, what do I do with these? Anyway, I think it's time for our ratings. I will go first and do a 4 again, just like Descent. This game's a lot of fun. It is just, you got to just know the audience and have the right group. That's all. It's a blast. Even with a competitive Empire player, you can still have fun. Just don't be stupid. You know what? Made us better players. That's all I'm saying. You don't have to kill every fucking stormtrooper. Here's a thought. Run past them. Close the fucking door. Just a thought. Biran owns it but never played. Xtreme, did you ever play this? Mike?
No.
Biran goes next.
I'm going to go to a 3, just because I like a dungeon crawl that lets me dilly dally, like you said, Descent does. So that's why it's a half a point less.
Yeah, understandable. Yeah, if you did it, everyone would yell at you at the end of the game, because it would be like clear you spent one turn doing something dumb, and even though it may not have affected the outcome, that's what we will point to.
Right.
You had to fucking unlock that chest, and inside there was like 9 credits. Like, meanwhile, a blaster's 3,000 credits or something.
Yep.
Worth it? I think not. Let's go. I'm gonna go to Xtreme next, because I think he likes Star Wars a little better than Mike.
Yeah, so my rating would be very similar to Descent. They're very similar games and for very similar reasons. But I would be more interested because of the license. So I'm going to give it a 3.5.
Oh, good score from you. That's like a 3.6 by most people.
That's a Schomburg 4.
Valdric, what is your score for Imperial Assault?
I'm going to give it a 3.5. Again, a half point less just because fantasy gets an extra half point. I'm not as sour on Star Wars as Biran is. I don't mind some of the Disney movies, but
I didn't know that. I thought you were trying to be one of the cool kids, Mike, and shit on it.
I like the last one. I don't know what the name of it is, but
I will tell you, I needed more out of the last one. That's why I actually just recently bought the book. Did not read it yet, but I want more, because it seems like a lot of stuff to pack into 120.
It was a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so I'm looking
Horses
forward to
running across a Star Destroyer is when I just threw up my hands.
Wait, what?
The scene where the horses were running across a Star Destroyer is when I threw up my hands.
Oh yeah.
I threw up my hands way more in Last Jedi than I did in Return of the Skywalker.
Last Jedi was worse than The Rise of Skywalker.
I'm a Star Wars fan, and I don't like Leia floating. That was weird. You know, whatever. Like, there was a lot of scenes that were just a little off. But that's neither here nor there. Directors and whatnot. If you get Imperial Assault, guess what? You get to be the director. Look at that shit. You don't have to worry about J.J. fucking Abrams or Rian Johnson. You get to decide where this game goes and where this whole thing goes. Could you imagine playing Imperial Assault and halfway through you swapped Empire players? Then you swap back? Wouldn't be good. That's all I'm saying. No, I don't like swapping in general. I'm not a swapper. Not a wife swapper. Anyway, fun game. If you can get it, great. If not, oh well, then to move on to the next fucking Zlurpcast episode. I don't know what's going to be next. It's probably going to be a non-game one.
Final score?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Math. So we had a 4, a 3.5, a 3.5, and a 3.
So 3.5.
3.5.
Look at that. A clean 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
Clean. You should tell your friends, or like gaming friends, if you don't have real friends, that you need to subscribe to this on YouTube. We have we're a fifth of the way there before Biran pulls his panties off in an episode. It's a long time coming. It went like this. Like if stats man, it was like up, and then like plateau, and then bloop. Like Todd joins, 3 people who know him liked it, and then 3 people who hate him didn't like it. Bloop, and then you come back. I want to keep going up and up. So subscribe, tell your friends, ring the bell. So if we go live, you get a video, boom, sent right to ya. Follow on social media at Zlurpcast. Send your feedback and penis pics to zlurpcast@gmail.com. It goes right to the deleted items. We set up a rule, so it goes right to deleted items. And Zlurpcast discussion on Facebook is a group. You can post pictures of people, quote, banging each other in there, and then people laugh. It's a whole thing. Zlurp Nation is an email thing you get if you sign up in the description below. The links should work because we've done the notepad hack on them, so that's good. A lot of stuff. Almost more stuff at the end than in the middle. Like and subscribe, guys. Smash the button. All that stuff. You can do it. Just got to put your mind to it, everybody. We'll talk to you next time on Zlurpcast TV. For Biran, Xtreme, Valdric, Jonny P, Bart Scompson, out.
Zlurpcast! Brought to you by Zomboy. Eat flesh.